Hello and welcome to Man of the Prize, the podcast. I'm your host, Harvey. How you doing? I hope the week has been great. It's been a long day for me. I'm getting myself excited, get the energy and the body flowing. But as usual, I'm thrilled that you're here to listen and or watch another man come here and open up and talk about what's going on in his life and be vocal and be comfortable with being vulnerable. And it's okay to be vulnerable, to talk about what's going on in life. It is my pleasure to bring in Mario, and I'm not going to say French. I'm not going to say his last name yet because I have a tendency to ruin him. I'm going to go Francella. Is that right?
You nailed it. Actually,
Yes!
better than most. Everyone says Francella. It's
No.
Francella. So beautifully done, sir.
Oh, that is awesome. First of all, welcome. Thank you for
Thank
giving
you.
me up your time and doing the
thank
podcast.
you.
I really appreciate it.
This is very cool. I'm very excited for this topic and everything you have going on. So, yep.
Let's do this. All right. So how I start is before I do this, I love a good bio. I like to print it out, like the paper. I like to get a look at who I'm talking to.
Wow.
So let's do this.
Cool.
With a passion for business startups, Mario has been instrumental in helping entrepreneurs start several operational companies from conception to completion. His financial journey started in 2009, which has now expanded into a Canada-wide wealth strategy firm. With over 20 years of qualified experience as a business owner and sales professional, Mario is now driven by constant development for application in his personal and professional life. This now enables him to mentor his clients in honing related skills and tackling complex situations through his alternative approach to finance. From the streets to the stage, Mario's story has inspired thousands to break down the barriers in their lives and achieve more. I love a good bio. I love reading. I do that on purpose. And a lot of podcasts I've been on, they'll read them and maybe do it ahead, pre-record it. Yeah. I read it because I want to read it to the man I'm talking to. We don't get that a lot. It's rare for a man to get his flowers, to be given praise such as that. So I ask you, what is it like to hear all the stuff that you have done?
You know what's crazy about it? I guess because I always I'm in the moment. I'm enjoying my life. I live my business to where it is, my family to where it is. That sometimes hearing that, it's like, man, am I an imposter? Am I really doing all those things? Have I done that? And it's just, it's nice because I don't give myself a ton of praise. You know, I'm humble with it. I just work. I feel like I do what I need to do when I need to do it. And so hearing that, I'm not going to lie, it's just kind of cool because it kind of takes you back to everything that I've done in my life and gone through to even have a bio that long. You know, that's 30 something plus years of struggle in my life to even have a bio that's worth reading. So I think, you know, I'm proud that I did that and no one else was holding the pen. You know, that's my life, my words. And I'm proud of that. Not too many people write their bio. They get it written by somebody or, you know, I'm like, man, let me write it. I went through it. Let me at least write it. So I appreciate it. Actually, it felt really good to hear. I needed that.
That's good. I'm glad. And one thing I want when I do this podcast, I want every man to come in here to feel good. Hopefully you leave feeling better than when you came in.
Of course.
But there's nothing better than hearing, oh, I did that. Like that's the reason I get those letters at the end of my name. That's what I've done. And every man's going to write his bio differently. I'm a stay-at-home father. Mine's going to be, I raised this kid and this kid and this kid, and this kid's doing this, and they're successful at this. But it's good to hear what you've accomplished. So cool. I'm glad I was able to do that. So that's always a good sign. Of course.
That's because that's sitting on my LinkedIn. I never look at it, never acknowledge it. So I appreciate you bringing it to light. Thank you.
Oh, no. Every once in a while, man, you got to sit down and be like, you know what? I got some stuff done.
Yeah. Once in a while.
Pretty cool dude.
A little flex doesn't kill anybody.
Never hurts anybody. Never hurts anyone.
I'm with you on it. I like it.
All right. So if you are a seasoned listener or watcher of this podcast, you know what P.R.I.Z.E is. You know what I do. But if you aren't, if this is the first time and you picked a great episode, Mario is going to be a fantastic guest. But if this is the first time, welcome. This is a space for men to be open, vulnerable, and emotional. I'm going to throw some questions at Mario. We're going to talk about stuff and hopefully dive in to life and what he sees in his future and his past and why he's the man he became. Yeah. I use the letters in the word prize. Each letter represents a characteristic that I think is a good one for men to have. We're going to start with P. The word is purpose. Purpose is defined as reason for which something is done or created or for which something exists. Mario, what is your purpose?
Man, right out the gate with
No games, baby. No games.
yeah, this is we're not, there's no warm up. There's not
Nope.
like, hey, let me just make sure the glove is on tight. This is we're throwing this right at you, whether you're ready or not. My
Yes.
purpose, man, I feel like, this question has always been tough for me because I always thought your purpose has to be one thing. Growing up in the business world, everyone's like, find your purpose. And I feel like my purpose evolves or it even changes sometimes moment to moment. And one thing about my purpose that has never ever changed is my goal is to make an impact in this world. And I don't know where that impact's going to come every day. And it's never going to come from the same thing, but I want to leave every conversation. I want to leave every relationship. I want to leave every friendship. I want to leave every business meeting. I want to leave every moment with my wife. I want to leave everything I do impactful. I don't like leaving anything on the table. I always am under the impression that this could be the last time you ever see me, and man, you're going to remember me. And that to me is my purpose. That's my selfish little purpose, that I want to leave an impact in every single step I take. Nothing is without purpose or a waste of time to me. Even if I'm sitting on the couch, spending time with my wife, laughing, drinking wine, there's purpose behind that. Because one day my kids are going to see that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so I want to make that imprint from now. So everything I do falls in that purpose. Even my company name, we just go by a little tagline, little team of impact. Everything is impact for me. And I think that's my purpose, is to use the gift that I've been given to make an impact in every single situation that I'm in.
How do you know that your purpose has been impactful?
Because I leave it knowing that there's nothing else I could have said or would have said. I leave everything on the table. You get the full and best version of me every time you get me. I don't say yes to something that I can't give my full version. And I think that's when something that's been a gift for me, because I get offered business opportunities, I get offered meetings, I get offered podcasts. But if I can't make an impact, I don't want the clout. Do you know what I mean? I don't need the attention. I don't thrive on the likes. I don't pay my bills with the attention. But that impact, if I know that I can leave that impact, and somebody asks me a question, whether there's a vested interest or not, I'm going to give them the best version of myself, and that answer is possible. And I can tell by their reaction that it's something that they haven't heard, or I can tell by their reaction that it's something that they know I'm giving my all. And I can leave that conversation feeling good. Sometimes I fail, I'm not going to lie, but I give it all I got every time I do it. And I think there's like an instinct. Like I know, I gave that all I got. There's nothing else I could have done. I didn't hold anything back. That's how I know in that moment I've done something special.
Now, this mindset, I feel like there's a clarity to when you're speaking that what I'm here to do, I'm going to do this to the best of my abilities.
Yeah.
And I think for every man, there's something different that we strive to be good at, to do, to know that we can do without even thinking. There's a quote that I love, and it came to me, and I feel like it fits. And I'm going to throw it at you, and I want you to give me your best, response to this. The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. What day is that second day? Have you reached that second day? Or if you have, do you remember when?
I hope I haven't. I hope there's more. You know what I mean? I love being surprised. And I think there's no greater surprise in this world than life. And I think I've had moments where I'm like, yeah, I think I found it. Yeah, I think today's that day. And I want to say it's the day that I first took the leap to get into business, because I feel like my whole life changed after that because of the things that I went through. But a part of me is like, man, I hope I haven't found it yet. I hope there's still more to me left at the end of that hill. I hope that, all this climbing is going to lead to something different. I want to be surprised. I don't want to know that I found the day yet. And I love that quote, by the way. I've quoted it 1,000 times because it is so powerful. And I think I'd rather know that I'm hitting multiple little times where that moment has hit me than never at all. You know what I mean? I'd rather that moment change from week to week, day to day, than never hit it ever. I think I'm more afraid of never finding that day than finding multiple of those days.
I love that quote because for me, I've always, when I talk to men, because I coach them too, and a lot of times you should be reaching. There should be, you're trying to reach something. But I always like to give the idea, is life a little bit different if you never actually ever get there?
Mm.
It's always, you can always see it. It's always just a little further away. Isn't life more interesting when you continually try? I think I made it, but hold on, I could do something else. I
Yeah.
think I found a solution, but wait a minute, there's a solution to something else. When life, like you said, when life is a surprise, when life is a journey, when life is a mystery, how more interesting is it? And it's harder to kind of get lazy and maybe fall back.
Oh, easy. It's easy. I think when I got married, that quote meant something completely different because for the first time, now I'm doing something for somebody that's not just me. Every day prior to that, even in relationships, truthfully, it was, this is my purpose. And if you're in the way, I can't have that.
Mm.
When I got married, man, I melted like a little puppy, dude. And I was like, you know what? I want to do this now for you too. And it made me love what I do even more because I know that when I love something, I give it even more. And now I have a new reason to love it because I have to extract more from it because now it's not just me that I need to take care of. You know what I mean? And so that was another moment for me where it's like, I think I found another purpose. I think this person coming into my life brought me a whole new meaning, a whole new level. And so I figured, hey, when I have kids, that's probably going to be a whole nother moment. And that quote's going to mean something different. And I just, I love that I'm not done. I love that there's still more to look forward to.
That's excellent. I love that answer. I
Yeah.
love that quote. I feel it's little things like it's not little. It's a quick quote, but
Yeah.
it has such substance. It means so
It's
much. I love
beautiful.
it. I love
It's
it.
well done.
Yeah. But I guess to get to the man that you are today, and obviously you're still going to progress and be a better man every day, every minute, every hour. We still go through things. The next letter in the word prizes are the word is resilience, the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties and toughness. You are an accomplished husband, businessman, human being, boss, all that stuff. But before you got here, or even in this realm where you are now, can you think of a situation, a moment, something that happened to you that made you discover that you had resilience you didn't know?
I'm going to be honest with you. There is no other letter on that, beautiful word that I think I can relate to more than resilient because I don't remember a time where things were easy. Growing up, I grew up in a wonderful home, amazing parents, the pure embodiment of love and giving and support. I grew up with, 4 older siblings, so 2 brothers, 2 sisters, 10 nieces and nephews. I grew up with a lot of love. And at a young age, my dad, who was a business owner, taught me skills that I still to this day carry on from when I was 9 years old. And, at 9 years old, how many 9-year-olds know what they want to do for the rest of their life? I used to read, like Sesame Street books to my toys, pretending I was doing a business presentation at 9 years old. I just knew what I wanted to do because I wanted to be like my dad. He owned a construction company, but he was so business minded. He was such a smart man, immigrant to this country, beat all the odds. 10 years old, I'm playing hockey and I take a hit and I thought, maybe I just pulled a muscle in my back. And so I walk into my home, I see my mom, I go to reach for her and everything becomes blurry and I black out. And I wake up, I think it was 14 or 15 hours later at Sick Kids Hospital. And it turned out I had a rare kidney disease. And the hit agitated it, which actually brought it to light, or else I would have probably just died in my sleep. It needed immediate surgery. And it was literally weeks away from it couldn't, ending me. And I'm in this hospital for 4 years. And every goal and dream that I ever had, gone. And there's Sick Kids Hospital is a beautiful place because they really make things comfortable. It's not like an adult hospital, where you're just like a nothing, a nobody on a bed. They do their best, but when my illness at one point they thought it was terminal. So they put me in a room where a lot of young kids go and, eventually they pass away. In those 4 years, I saw numerous kids that were my friends, people I was talking to pass away in front of me. And it gets to a point where you almost like, when's it my day? And something small every day just kept me focused on the next day. Something little. It could have been, I needed to watch my favorite show. I needed to play this video game. I needed to read this magazine. I needed to read this book. I needed to tell my mom something. And every day I would just find something that I had to do the next day. After 4 years, they finally released me. And, I felt like I lost most of my childhood. I felt like I lost those important years of growing up with friends where they built those bonds between 10 and 14 years old, which I missed out on. I feel like I was never going to get into business, and all my goals, all my hopes, all my dreams kind of were left in that hospital. And it was at 15 years old where I started, realizing what I need to do. And my brother at the time, God bless him, not somebody who I spend a lot of time with anymore. We don't really have a relationship, but I heard my parents arguing about money. And I've never heard my parents argue a day in their life. And my hospital bills were outrageous because just because it's Sick Kids Hospital, experimental stuff is paid for, private rooms are paid, and my parents couldn't keep up. And we ended up losing my dad's retirement home. And my brother said, we're losing the home because of you. And I promise you, Harvey, at that moment, I packed my things. I told my parents I'm going to stay at a friend's house for the summer. I told my friends that we got a condo in Florida for the summer, and I went to go live on the streets at 15 years old by myself. And I just felt like I didn't want to be a burden to anyone anymore. And that to me developed such a resilience to pain, to weather, to everything that I did on a level of being homeless for almost 2 years, that it really shaped my mindset today, that the things that knock normal people off, it doesn't even faze me anymore. And so I went through that. I went through working in the restaurant industry, trying to find my way, grinding 100 hours a week. I went to the business world and I was consumed by that. Everything was going good. And then, I ended up getting, issues with home, and my dad getting sick, and my dad having a stroke and having to take care of them. And then having my dad pass away last year. There's never been a moment where I've had just peace. Resilience is all I know. And to the point that I've learned to survive with it, that I don't even know how to function without it. And so my whole life is summed up by resilience. So I don't know how to even pinpoint one moment. I know it started when I was at the hospital, but I don't know how to pinpoint, anything else. It's all been a blur since then. It's all been surviving and overcoming and pushing through and climbing and grinding. And it's gotten so normal for me that even speaking about it is uncomfortable, because I'm like, it's exhausting. I don't need to get into it. It's my way of life. Why do I have to burden other people with my burden? And so it's been like a noise inside of me for most of my life that's never been released, never been really talked about to the degree that it's actually happened. I always have a stage story, but not the real grind and struggle that it was my life. Right. So yeah, resilience is all I know. To have what I have right now, I should be dead, to be completely honest, in multiple different aspects.
Oh my goodness. What's interesting is you've been through so much. How has your life just dealing with difficulties affected, one, your relationships, and two, how you handle business?
Yeah. So luckily, I have a really good gift of compartmentalizing. And so when I'm with my spouse, I'm with my spouse as best I can. Even if I'm dealing with work, I try not to let one emotion from one category spill into the next. And I think what's really helped is that from the bottom of my heart, and I say this, wholeheartedly, whenever I'm dealing with problems, I just don't think anyone cares. So I don't really bring it up. I feel like my wife is going through a lot in her life. Why would I bring up more problems? And, maybe she can't handle it as well as me. And why do I want to add that to her life? And now she has more worry. So I just don't. And then I don't want to bring it into my employees, my agents, people that look up to me, because man, they probably have their own problems. So I don't need to do mine. I just got to do my job and shut up. And with my dad passing, I don't want to bring this to my mom. She has enough she has to worry about. So I'm just going to, see my mom and I'm going to be happy. Everyone sees the smile. And it affects, no one knows any of it, but it affects in all areas because it requires a level of me that sometimes I don't even have in me. And I don't know where I find the strength to do it because it's exhausting. Because I still, just because I have the mindset of not dumping my problems doesn't mean they have the same ones. So not only am I carrying all that burden, I have to carry so many other people's because they figure, look how strong he is. Nothing seems to be bothering him. Look how much luck he has. Look how, simple his life is. He just seems so laid back and relaxed. So it's an easy target to dump all those problems. So then I feel guilt and I start carrying those burdens and my burdens. So it's, to answer your question with one word, it's heavy in all areas.
I hear that. I can say with everything, and I applaud what you do and how you live, but everything you said is very much the definition of being a man.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Life is hard. I'm supposed to deal with this. Something happened. It's going to affect the whole family, but they're not going to know. I'm going to find a way to make it work. And I don't want to put any more pressure on them, so I'm not going to tell them. But all that pressure, all that stuff that they might need to know stays here.
Yeah.
And while I applaud how you do it, I'm sure I'm not the first to tell you eventually that's going to.
Oh, yeah. You just
Yeah.
implode.
At some point, and that's the toxic masculinity thing. That's what happens when you have all this pressure, load. I'm supposed to provide. I'm supposed to take care of everybody. I don't prioritize myself. Eventually, it comes out in not the best of ways.
No.
But that's what we do.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know any other way. And sometimes I'll be honest with you, even when I am saying it in my head, I'm like, shut up. This sounds so stupid. This doesn't even sound real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't like, just stop, cut it off, say a short version of it, move on. As I'm saying it, I feel like this is dumb. Like, why am I even saying this? And so I think I've fooled myself long enough, Harvey, to just feel like, you know what? I'll be fine. And there's days, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not, man. And I want to just lie in my bed and just not do anything. And then I know I can't, or if I'm going through something and I have a moment like, you know what, I'm going to share what I'm going through today. Today's the day. And then my wife is dealing with some serious problems. And I'm like, okay, no, today's not the day. And then my agents are not having a good day. I'm like, today's not the day. And then, my mom calls me and I'm like, how you doing? She's like, I'm lonely. Today's not the day. And just imagine that every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's never a day where I feel like this person can take on how I feel. And so I just don't allow it to come out.
There's always a reason to not say something.
Oh, all the time. I can find it. No problem.
There's always, and it's sad. And well, but as we grow, we mature, we get older, we, can really look into ourselves and see, and hopefully the time will come where somebody can listen and you can let it off. I think it'll be so much better for you. As we continue, I'll skip the I, we're coming back to that. But this fits, it's kind of flowing because the next letter is Z, the word is zeal. Enthusiastic devotion. This is just perfect. So you're going through life, a lot is on your shoulders. You're carrying the weight of the world of yours, your wife's, your business, your extended family. What do you do for you, just for you?
People ask me that a lot. And the funny thing is, I actually just love all those things. All the things that are hard, I actually love. I love my job every day. As frustrating as it is, and this is what anyone out there that's listening, that's starting a business, in a business, wondering why their business isn't growing, you have to love all the ugly parts of it. You don't have to like it every day. I don't like my business every day, but I love my business every day. I love my freedom. I love waking up in the morning and opening up my closet here that has a coffee maker in it. And I love making my coffee, and I love sitting over there and reading in my chair. And I love hanging out with my dog that's right here, chilling and relaxing with me. I love spending time with my wife. All the things that I consider hard, I actually also find a lot of joy in it, which is why I think I can get through it so easily. as stressful and as much pressure it is to manage 98 agents that I have in my organization across North America, I actually love every minute of it. I don't always like every one of them, God bless them, but I love what I do every day. I love my wife every day. Despite anything, I love my wife every day. I find a reason to love my wife every day. I love my dog every day. Even though when they're in pain, I love my dog every day. And I think that's what's helped me more than anything, because I learned early on that resilience is something I'm going to have to deal with. Struggle is something I'm going to have to deal with. My dad told me every single day. And so I had to, if I didn't find love in the struggle, I would be miserable. I'd be depressed. I'd be I'd be a horrible husband. I'd be a horrible manager, boss. I would be all these things. But because I find love in the struggle, I don't worry if the struggle ever leaves or not. So I don't have to rely on the stars to align, the everything to fall into place. I just learn to love whatever's happening. I'll find something to love, even if it's small. I'll hang on to that. But it's enough to get through any struggle that comes my way.
I like those words. Since you kind of went into your talking about business, I want to throw a question at you.
Sure.
I've got men who are listening who want to start that small business, who want to start something.
Dude.
If you had one bit of unexpected advice for a man who's starting a business, there's millions of people out there who are telling you how to start a business. Listen to this mastermind, listen to this course, read this book, watch this guy talk, go to YouTube, 2 hours. This is the guy, blah, blah, blah. Give me some advice for starting a business that I wouldn't expect to hear, something that would surprise me.
Number one, don't pay for anything. Any advice, don't pay for any advice. People are jumping on coaches right away. Everyone's looking for the shortcut to being successful in business. They want to find the quickest way there. Show me how to, let me buy leads. Let me buy a business coach. The first thing you have to do, and I learned this from Wayne Gretzky, reading his book a long time ago, you got to fall in love with the game first. Once you fall in love with the game, all the training, all the hard stuff, all the rejection, none of it matters as long as you fall in love with the game. So if you're going to start a business today, don't worry about the money. Don't worry about, the service. Fall in love with you taking control of your life first and doing something that's for you. Fall in love with being selfish, because as men, that's not something we get to take pride in. Fall in love with being selfish. Fall in love with the activity. Find a problem and solve it. You do not need anything more than that. All the books if you have a sales book, sell it. It's irrelevant. That's it. People buy for two reasons: to satisfy a want or to solve a problem. If you can do one of those two things, you're going to be successful in your business. But if you don't love it, it's going to hit you like a brick. And that's the thing. People get into business because it's like, oh, it sounds good. I want to be a businessman. I want to, I'm going to get an email, and I'm going to get a website, and I'm going to do all these things because I want to feel like I'm in business. Man, it's a lot harder than that. You just got to kind of jump in, and you got to give it all you got. And you got to not have expectations on yourself, which is very difficult to be a man as well, because we have so much expectations. Mm-hmm. You're not doing this to pay your bills right out the gate. You're not doing this for your spouse right out the gate. You're not doing this for your children right out the gate. You got to be selfish when you first start your business. It's got to be about you. Make your time, prioritize your time with your family. But if you can't give it your all, don't bother doing it. So if you know that you're in a position where, like, I cannot give it my all because my spouse is not going to let me, my kids are too demanding, you're going to get frustrated and you're going to have resentment. So you got first thing you need to do, if you have a spouse and kids, talk to them about what you want out of your life. They'll be there. They'll support you. But if they're in the dark with it, they can't. And then you got to be okay to be a little bit selfish.
Do you handle being a business owner to a degree the same way you do in a relationship? Because when I'm married, I've been married about 15 years, and I think what you were saying is that you may not always like the work, but you gotta love the work. I feel like there's a real balance to some. I love my wife; she's an amazing person.
Oh, of course.
But there's just some Wednesdays where I'm like, damn, girl, like I'm not even feeling you right now. Is it the same kind of vibe I hate this business, but I love what I'm doing?
Yeah, it's the same. Like, I can pick twice a day that I don't like my wife, but there's never a moment I don't love her. You know what I mean? And I think business for me is the same, because people love it when it's easy. People love it when you get to do all the things that you love to do. This is why I tell people, don't turn your hobby into a business. because you're going to stop loving what you did. Because when you turn it into a business, all you're going to have to deal with is all the things you don't like. And I have so many people. I remember I used to be in culinary school, and I excelled really well because I was already in the restaurant industry for a long time. And so I became an instructor. And anytime a new student came in, we used to ask, what do you want to be? And they're like, a celebrity chef. We know, and the instructors know, never going to happen. It's almost like a 1 in a million chance you're going to be a celebrity chef. And if that's what you want out of the gate, this is going to be really hard because you're going to realize it's nothing like that until you get to that level. And so my business, I look at my business, and there's times like I don't like my business. There's times that I question if I'm in the right business. There's times I'm like, you know what? I don't think me and this business are on the same page. There's times that I think, you know, where my business is going and where I want to go are not in alignment. But I love that business every single day. And because I love it so consistently and so effortlessly and so unapologetically, it's done nothing but reciprocate that love back. So even when I don't like it, I think the difference is I'm not afraid to say I don't like it. Same with my wife. When my wife says something that really rubs me the wrong way, I have no problem saying, hey, what you just did doesn't work for me. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. I don't like that. I don't yell at my wife. I don't call my wife's names. I don't raise my voice to my wife, but I don't do that for my business either. You know what I mean? If my business does something that it's not in alignment, I'm like, hey, this doesn't work for me. An agent does something not in alignment. Hey, this is not going to work. This isn't going to fly. It's not in alignment with what we're doing here. Give me a hug. I love you. But it's,
Exactly.
you know what I mean?
I hear that.
But this stops here. I have boundaries. I have respect for myself.
That's good. And that's important. And that's a rarity with men too. Because we don't know about that, building the boundaries and setting them for ourselves. But something you mentioned, do you prefer teaching or learning?
Learning, because when I teach, the person who learns the most is me. You know, if I look at I think it was Anthony Robbins or somebody that said, you know, when you learn something new, teach it 3 times and it becomes solidified. So whenever I'm doing a training to salespeople, I know the person that's probably learning the most in that moment is me. You know, it's the first time they're hearing it. They have other distractions, other things going on. They're probably not. But if I had to live a life of teaching or a life of learning, I would miss out on so much by just teaching what I've already learned as opposed to exploring what I don't know. So I think learning has got to be one of the most addicting things in this world. It's beautiful, but as long as you have the will to apply it, or else information is just useless.
What's the last thing you learned?
Wow, great question. Recently, I just realized something that I've always known, but I just really hit that no one's going to care about my business more than I'm going to care about my business. So I can't hold my people to the same standard I hold myself. Do you know what I mean? Like if my agent screws something up, as much as I want to freak out, in my head, I'm like, this guy the weight's not on his shoulders. A mistake for that individual is just a mistake for that individual. I know that if I made that mistake, it would be completely detrimental to the company. But I can't hold him to that standard because this is my entire life. I built this thing from scratch. He didn't. I fire him today. He has another job tomorrow. I lose this. I have problems. So the thing that I recently just learned is you can never get somebody to love what you love in the same way that you love it. So you can't hold them to the same standard that you hold yourself. Everyone's going to hold themselves to the same standard that they hold themselves. And that'll save you a lot of headache and stress.
Okay. I like that. I like that answer a lot. Well done. Okay.
Yeah.
The final letter in the word prize is E, and the word is expectation.
Oh, man.
A strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future.
Yeah.
I will ask you, you are quite successful in what you do now. We're still in 2023 as we record. 5 years from now, what is Mario doing? What new innovation has he come up with? Give me what are you going to be? When I read a headline about Mario in 2028, what do you expect me to read?
Okay, so this is going to sound crazy, but everyone works for that headline. I want to work to not be seen. So in 5 years from now, if you read anything about me, I failed. I want to leave an impact and a legacy behind in every single person that I come in contact with, that I work. In 5 years from now, I hope I'm so much like my dad. I hope I'm the type of father that he was, the type of husband that he was, the type of person that put everyone else first, the type of person that lifted everybody up. Because I look at how my dad lived, and I look how my dad, finished his life, and there's nothing more inspiring than that. If I keep chasing that headline, I'll never be satisfied, because the next headline is going to be bigger. The next, podcast is going to be larger. I want to live a life that I can enjoy and I can watch other people enjoy because of the things that I did over the next 5 years. That's something that's really important to me. I want the next generation in my industry, in my company, to thrive. I have a young woman on my team, 21 years old, youngest executive in the firm's history. I want to see somebody like that thrive in the next 5 years. I want them to get their flowers and their their headlines. I have other people in my team that I'm so grateful for. I want them to have their headlines. In 5 years from now, man, if you guys still see me on social media posting about, something I've done, or if you see me 5 years from now, if I'm not getting recognized as far as the give impact or things that I've given away, if I'm still getting personal recognition for something, I've done something wrong in the next 5 years. I got off my life plan.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I
I just
like
don't
that.
want it anymore, man. I've chased it. I've had it. I just want a peaceful, wonderful, loving life. And I don't think I can have that and the attention. You got to pick one or the other sometimes.
I like that. I like that. One or the other. One or the
Yeah.
other. I, what you said for me, I guess how seriously you take your business is how seriously I take fatherhood.
Yeah.
And so for me, not that there's going to be some magazine or some newspaper writing articles about me,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but for me, if my kids are doing great things in this world,
Beautiful, right?
that's how I kind of, that's the analogy from what you said. I don't want my name to be there, but if my son who's 19 years old now,
Wow.
if in 10, 15 years he does something awesome, you'll never see Harvey's name there, but you'll see my son, and that's it.
That you nailed it. That's exactly what I want.
That's what it is. I have done something good, so good that you don't even know I did it.
That's the best thing for me, that I love the behind the scenes. I love raising people up and doing everything I need to do and letting them take all the attention in the world. Let them get everything that they want out of that. I know that that's what my purpose is, to leave that impact. I don't need anyone to see that. I tell people all the time, the biggest meeting I ever want to attend is my funeral.
Mm.
That
Mm.
to me is where I know I lived the life to my purpose.
I hear that. I hear that. That kind of selflessness is wonderful to hear. It's very much a masculine thing. We men, we just want to provide. We
Yep.
want to make life easier for whoever we're providing for, and
Million
just
percent.
kind of just pass off in the distance and pass it on to the next person. So I love that answer.
Awesome.
The last letter, and it's not the final one, but it's the last letter in this mantra that is P.R.I.Z.E. The letter is I, and it means nothing. It doesn't represent any particular word. It represents you, Mario.
Love it.
Take away, your business owner title, husband, son, best friend, all these things. When it's just you without the shackles of titles, of anything, it's you in the dark by yourself, listening to music, just in there by yourself. Who are you?
Man. So there's not one word for this, not one quick, there's a quick answer, but I read somewhere once, I think it was a Chinese proverb, and it said, the person you are publicly, the person you are when you're around the people you love, and the person you are by yourself are different people. Like, it's the masks we wear. We wear one mask in public. We wear one mask when we're around people we love, and we wear one mask when we're by ourselves. And it's who we are when we're by ourselves. That's our true self. I know that if I was in the dark, listening to music, having a glass of scotch, being who I am, the one thing that no one can take away from me is all three of those masks match. And I think that's the one thing about me. Who you meet when I'm online, who you meet when I'm around my loved ones, and who you meet when I'm by myself is the same person. I don't put on a show, an act, nothing for anybody. What you see is what you get. And I think I can't picture a better form of success than having all three of those masks match, because I don't have to live a life of lies, a life of deception, a life of hidden, meaning and purpose. I don't have to take that mask off and be something that I want to be or something that I'm not. I am who I am, and I think that is beautiful. So who you see today is who I'll be in that moment when it's dark and quiet and relaxed. I'm still going to be making an impact. Maybe it's just for myself, but it is who it is, and I am who I am, and I don't try to put on something different for anybody. So what you see right now is exactly the representation of what I would be in that moment by myself.
And that is a man I can say I respect,
Thank you,
I
sir.
admire, and I know has so much more coming in the future. We speak now, but we've only scratched the surface. I know there's more coming from you.
I hope
Thank
so.
you. Oh no, thank you for answering the questions in the P.R.I.Z.E mantra. I have a few more for you, and then I will leave you to family and
No
your dog
rush.
and so.
I love
Anyway,
this experience. What a beautiful show, man. So please go ahead.
oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Um, I asked men, there's two questions I typically answer. You answered one. In talking about what you do for yourself, I really want men to have something of their own, something that they can go to get away from life, to struggle. And you talked about that. The other question, we are in this age of lonely men.
Yeah.
So I've been asking men, and throughout the 2+ seasons of this podcast, I've been asking men, do you have friends? And the way I say it is, do you have if you did something stupid, do you have a friend you could call and say, I did something really dumb, I don't know why I did it? Do you have a friend who you could talk to, say what you did, let it out? I mean, lay it at their feet, and you would feel
Yeah.
safe and comfortable saying it to that guy. It can't be family, a brother or your father would pass, anything like that. A
Yeah.
friend, that guy who you could call 3 a.m. I did some dumb and I don't even know why, and he would listen to you.
You know what's funny? My whole life I had friends like that. And I got really lucky with that, because the friends that I have now to this day took me from a really dangerous path that I was on. Growing up, I had a lot of friends that were into a lot of the wrong stuff. And I could have easily been one of them. And I still carry all their names because most of them have passed away. So all their initials are here on my arm. But I have a friend group that I don't think exists very much in this world anymore. And there's a quote from the movie Stand By Me, one of my favorite movies of all time. And there's a quote that said, I never had friends like I did when I was 13. And, I got lucky to make it past that, because these friends I've had since I can remember. And every time we get together, my wife talks to me after. She goes, I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen men so comfortable around each other, so playful around each other, so honest around each other. She goes, it's like every great part of you is duplicated into 4 other people. It's like it's the same person when it's together. Now, we're married, people have kids, and life changes. But when we get together, it's like those 13-year-old boys that are together again and hanging out and discovering life. And I think if I didn't have that, I don't think I would be the man I am today or where I am. Even though they're not, involved in every aspect of my life, I carry the values that I learned from them. They were in my wedding speech. I told, a crowd of people that this table raised me. And so if you are a man out there and you feel like you don't have that, man, I'm going to tell you something. There's nothing wrong with developing it at any age. It could be the guy that you work with. You ask that guy one question, you'll be blown away how much you have in common. That's the thing. It's a lot easier, I think, for men than even women to make friends. And I think it just starts with asking a couple questions, and you're going to really realize there's so much relatability. Don't think you missed that boat. Don't think, oh, I didn't have them when I was younger, so I can't have them now. Man, you have no idea how important and crucial that is, because I would feel an emptiness that I don't think could be filled by anything else in my life if I didn't have those guys in my life. And it's just 4 of us. It's not like it's 50. It's just 4 people that I've gone through the entire, like a war with, of my whole life. They've been there for every aspect of it. They've seen the good, the bad, the ugly of all of it. And listen, that might start at 40, it might start at 50, it might start at 20. But man, don't sabotage yourself and deny yourself that, because it's you're missing out on the second part of your life starting when you have that friend group.
Man, you be careful talking about movies with me, because it's a whole new
Well,
podcast
same,
that we talk
same.
about. I am a problem when it comes to movies. You said Stand By Me. To me, I love movies. And when you talk about friendships in film, the movie that does it for me, and this is completely off the topic,
Go ahead. I love this. I'm all
I
in.
I love The Sandlot. The
Oh,
Sandlot is the epitome of friendship. A
oh,
bunch of boys. I love sports movies. I love kids movies when it's just kids, because that's as pure a friendship as there is. They just want to play baseball, and then they have adventures.
oh my God,
Those
dude.
friends, when you said Stand By Me, that is awesome. I'm a Stephen King fanatic on top of that.
Same.
But The Sandlot is my favorite sports movie, and it's not even about the baseball. It's not about James Earl Jones. It's not
No,
about all that. It's about these kids. It's about the first kid who had no friends. He moved into the
it's
neighborhood, and he didn't.
inclusion. It's being part of something. Oh, I
Oh,
love that movie so much. I must have
oh,
watched that movie with my friends
oh.
50 times. And everyone at one point felt like the outcast, like they found like a gold mine of people that accepted them.
Mhm.
And man, I can't tell you how much I love that movie, and just watching one of your friends make it, and the pride and the joy you feel. There's no
Oh,
jealousy, there's no envy.
mhm.
Man, you nailed
Oh,
it. That is one of the,
oh.
if you get that movie, like that was us with hockey, because that's what we grew up with, street
Right,
hockey. But
right.
it was that every day. It was all day. And it was just, ah, man,
I,
I can't
I,
tell you how much you nailed,
there,
how much people
ah,
need that.
I love that. There's so many of these movies, and I mean, I was you got me thinking, because the next thing I thought of is the Goonies. The
Oh,
Goonies
another
is the
great one.
same thing. It's a bunch of kids, and a little bit older, and romance and all that stuff. But and it's really just getting back to the whole idea of friendship. And you made some really great points. We men, it's really simple. We don't need a lot to
Mm,
create a friendship. Like, hey, what's going on? What are you drinking? Blah, blah, blah. 10 minutes later, we're talking about whether Gretzky or
yeah,
whomever was the greatest. I'm a Rangers fan. I will yell with an Islanders fan forever. I could
yeah.
hate you, but we'll be friends for life. It's so simple in what it
It,
takes to build a
it's
friendship.
simple. That's the word. It's simple. It
Yeah.
doesn't require that deep emotion, because that'll come
Hmm.
through respect, which is something we don't really have. So we'll look at respect like this deep love, but it's just because we don't have a lot of respect. And so there's no one that can respect you more than another man, because they understand
Yes.
that is like the highest form of love that you can give.
Yes. Yes.
And
So
so
true.
women try to love you how they want to be loved. Men
Hmm.
only know how to love through that. I'm going to give you, you have my respect. And that's when like you've now created a bond that you can't break that bond.
Hmm.
Whereas for a lot of women, especially in my life, respect doesn't hit the same threshold of love for them. It's just something that's given, so they don't hold it to the same level, because they're generally feel that every day. They're respected by their peers, they're respected by their family. It's just, but when you're not, and you have a friend that just you respect, I respect this person's energy, I respect this person's time. Man, we're having a beer. I don't need to entertain them. They don't need to entertain me. We can entertain ourselves just in the
Hmm.
in the same capacity. I don't have to put on a show for them. They don't have to put on a show for me.
Yep.
Dude, there's nothing more peaceful and amazing than that. There's just nothing. There's nothing
Agreed.
that beats that.
Agreed. I don't know. There's nothing more I respect in a man than watching him be a man.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Look, I know, and because I know the person you are and what you've done and what you've been through, we're going to be lifelong friends. But then if I'm just getting to know you, then we're cool. And then there's that kind of intimacy, which sounds like a bad word, but it's not in a relationship. It's
No,
friendship. And then you grow and like, dude, I just met him. He just had a beer, but now he's been in his marriage and he's struggling, but he didn't give up and he fought. And then he's in his business and he's been struggling, but he fought. That guy I want to have as a friend. Hell, I want to be like that guy a bit.
it's
I
so true.
respect him infinitely. It's amazing. Male friendship, which is just sadly non-existent right now, is so important. It's
It
so
is.
needed for men. So needed for men. We just need someone to talk to.
Dude,
and
it's so
somebody who will
true.
understand, right?
And they
Oh
don't
my
judge you because they get it. And then you see by their reaction that it's getting, and it's just encourages you to do it more.
yes.
People think it's difficult. They don't realize you are one drink and two questions away from developing a friendship. I don't care if it's the guy that's cutting your grass, if you're not cutting your grass. I don't care if it's your next door neighbor. If you walk outside and you just hand them a beer, ask them a couple questions about their grass, their house, when they moved in, you've started the basis of a solid friendship that might take 3 weeks, 3 months, but it's there. That's how quickly it starts.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
it's amazing because I look at I talked to my wife about this, and she has a core group of a few friends, but jealousy usually gets in the way, insecurity usually gets in the way, uh not knowing how to show each other, respect that doesn't feel like it's like shady or well, like it's like honest, like it's like, oh, I'm glad that you found a great man, like but it's like, are you though, like, because I can't tell right now. You seem like
Right.
you're a little upset about it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just there's so much like things that you have to navigate from what I've learned as far as women developing friendships, but it's not complicated like that for men. Because I can bring 90% of my struggles to a man, he'll relate to 80% of them. There might be that 10% buffer that something happened to you that never happened to them, but 80% of the stuff that we've gone through with work, with relationships, with friends, with people, with bills, with stress, with pressure, dude, it's a universal. It's a universal in.
It's wonderful. That's great. I love this conversation. I could fall into that.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's I wanted to come back to something because we were talking about business and we were talking about in life and working and such. I wanted to ask, and since you've obviously have done well with it, can you give a bit of advice on how we men can balance work and life?
Yeah, I think the best way to balance things is to understand that there's no balance. All you can do is be 100% of where you are. And it's something I struggle with. It's not something that's easy, but I'll tell you this. And this is something I work on. And I'm not saying this as somebody who's had this mastered. I promise you I don't. But when I'm with my wife, I want to be 100% with my wife. When I'm at work, I want to be 100% at work. And I think that if you do that, you're going to feel not a sense of balance necessary, because it's never going to be balanced. Because if I give my work 50%, I give my wife 50%, one or both of those things are suffering. And now, what happens when one or both of those things are suffering? I'm going to start feeling like I can't live up to my expectations and provide. And then I'm going to start feeling resentment on this end because my wife is now keeps taking me away from the things that I need to do to make us, okay, and to provide. And then I'm going to get frustrated with work because it's taken me away from my wife. I'm always going to lose that battle. But if I can set boundaries, if I can say, hey, to my wife, 7 o'clock tonight, get some snacks ready. We're going to hang out. We're going to watch a movie. You're going to have 100% of my time. And then just give it 100% of your time. And then when you're at work, tell your wife, say, hey, listen, I love you. I have a big meeting coming up. I'm not going to be present. So if you need something, ask me now. If not, it's going to have to wait till 4 o'clock. But I have to be 100% at this job. Because if you allow your wife or your friends or anyone in your life to dump on you during crucial moments where you have to be focused, you're never going to go into what you have to go into 100%. And if you allow those other things to also take away that time, even if it's for a few moments for your wife, because it's easy to justify saying, hey, this is our business, our life, this is our livelihood. Listen, nothing is that urgent. And if you allow that, what's going to happen is you're going to have both sides resenting you, and you're going to feel like all I do is give to people. Nobody cares about me. It's because the truth is you're not giving your 100% to anything. You're giving whatever scraps you can to whatever you can, and you're trying to make everybody and everything happy. And it's not how life works. So if I can be 100% at work, I'm happy, successful, productive. I feel accomplished and confident. If I'm 100% with my wife, she feels loved, respected, cared for. And that doesn't mean I can give my wife 100% every day and all day. It's just going to be for this time that you have me, you got 100%. And I'm going to love you as best as I can in this 3 hours, this 2 hours, this 4 hours, this weekend. You're going to have me. Work, leave me alone. You do not have me this weekend. But come Monday, I have a big project. You got to let me have that. I need that. And I think if you can set those boundaries, you don't need balance.
Okay. That's a great answer. That's wonderful. All right. I have two last questions.
Let's do it.
The first one is, what are you afraid of that you cannot control?
Not living up to potential. Letting the people around me down because I just can't figure out that 100% thing all the time. And those are the two things that I think about and I fear every single day. That, am I giving it my all? Am I living up to my potential? Am I going to make the impact that I want to make? And am I giving my marriage everything I got? Or am I neglecting certain areas and not noticing it and justifying it with, hey, I have to work. Hey, I'm the breadwinner. Hey, I have to do this. Am I lying to myself is my biggest fear.
That's a big one. Okay. Let's flip the coin.
Let's do it.
What are you afraid of that you can control?
I think it's the same thing, but if I had to, because I can control it, I think I've convinced myself that I can't. But what I can control is my activity, and I can control how I view things that happen to me. So if a struggle happens, I'm in control of how I react to that struggle. I can't stop the struggle. I can't prevent the things to happen for me, but I can prevent how I react to what happens to me. And, that's a fear of mine because I'm always afraid of something happening, a challenge coming my way that I can't solve or whatever the case is. But, I may not always have a desirable option, but I always have a choice. And I think that to me is something that I'm afraid of, but I can control.
One last question.
Sure.
So, when I have fathers on here, and I think you're not just yet, but you soon, I guess, and I
Yeah.
ask them specifically if they have daughters. I'm a girl dad. I've got 3.
Oh, wow, man. Okay.
And I asked these men, if I was able to talk to one of your daughters right now, what would she say about her daddy? Now, you're not there yet. So I'm going to go with the next closest thing. If I had the pleasure to be in the room with your beautiful wife,
Yes, sir.
and I asked her, talk to me about Mario,
Yeah.
what would she say about you?
Man, I would welcome anybody to do that. And that's just a level of confidence that I have. I think what she would say about me more than anything is that I'm very, I'm patient. I'm calm because she's dealing with a lot of stuff in her life and I'm calm through all of it. Absolute rock, keeps his word. Uh, you know, loves me with everything he has. I never have to worry. And I think those things to me are what I strive for every day. And the only reason I know she would say that is because I love her. She tells me all the time. And so I'm not speaking hypothetically. I'm just regurgitating everything she's ever said to me and continues to say to me. So, yeah, that's what I think she would say.
That's good. I love that question because it really opens up. It kind of forces you to, what do you think about you?
Hmm.
Because I mean, you know what she's going to say, but if you answer honestly, it's really looking at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, it's tough.
What is my, we're men, we value what other people think of us.
Yeah.
I don't, there's not a more vulnerable question that I've ever asked a man. What does your daughter think about you?
Yeah.
I live for what my kids think of me and what my wife thinks of me, good or bad. I'd be broken if by some reason I wasn't respected or didn't think I was doing my best. So when
Right.
you can answer that question and know that, damn it, my kids know I might be tough, but I love them, that
Yeah.
I'm honest with them, that I'm vulnerable with them, that I'm all these things. If I can say my wife says that anything happens, she knows I got her, all that stuff, that says a lot about what you think of yourself when
I
you
love
answer
that.
that question.
I
Love
hope I
that
have
question.
girls. I love that.
Oh, dude. You say that without having girls now. When they hit about 11 or 12, then you'll be like, oh my God, give me 6 boys. It's chaos, but it is what it is. But you know what? Fantastic conversation. I'm so glad that we got to talk. How can people find you? Your website, social media? Tell us all about you. This is your time to just let it out and shine.
There we go. Sorry about that.
No
If you ever
problem.
want out, you ever have a question, I mean, and this is for any man on here. If you ever just want to chat, I'm always down, man. I love that stuff. I'm a big fan of it. You can check me out on Instagram, probably the easiest. So my Instagram handle is Mario J Francella. So it's basically my first name, last name, and then J in the middle. You can't miss it. You'll find me there. But yeah, that's probably the best spot. Website, I mean, if you want to learn about finance, feel free. It's wynnfinancial.ca. And that's it. Yeah, no
Okay.
worries. .ca, and then Instagram right there is perfect. Yeah, you got it. They got it. They'll figure it out. WACA, they'll figure it out.
We're good.
But yeah, those are the Instagram if you ever want to talk to me. Win Financial if you ever want to learn a little bit more about what I do, but you'll get better response on Instagram. Work is work.
Yeah, I hear you. Thank you for this conversation. I
You,
love
brother.
talking to men. I love just conversations. And like you mentioned, we talked for maybe about an hour. I
Yeah.
made a friend tonight.
No, buddy,
And
100%.
and it's an honor to talk to you. And we've got each other's contact. I will reach out to you
Please
just
do.
to talk to you, to check in and see how life is going.
Uh,
I want to see the big things. I'm making sure that I don't read you in the newspaper, but just know that success has come your way quietly under the
dude, I love
radar.
it. Please do. You developed a fan on this web. I love what you do on this podcast. Just such a genuine individual, man. And so thank you for putting this together and giving a lot of men a voice that don't know they have one. So thank you for breaking that inner silence that so many of us have. And please reach out. Let me know whatever I can do to give back to you. What an absolute honor this has been.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, brother.
To my guests, I will leave with this. Thank you for watching, listening to this episode. Amazing talking to Mario. This was wonderful. A lot of insights about business, about life, about resilience, about struggle. We deal with things, we get better, we fight, we get past it. I wanted to leave you with this. I saw, I don't know if it's a proverb or it's a quote, it's something that I saw today, and it just felt like something I wanted to talk about. And it's givers need to set limits because takers rarely do. As men, we give, we support, we provide, we love, we give it all. We give it all. We give of ourselves and give everything, even more than we have. I want you to take a moment, and as much as you want to take care of everyone, recognize that you're a human. You're an amazing man, no doubt about that, but you can't do it for everyone. But if you try, the people around you will allow you to do it and take everything from you. Boundaries are important. You do what you can within your limits. There's nothing wrong with recognizing that you have limits, that you can't do it all. It's okay to not be able to do it all. And a real man recognizes that. But a real man needs to be reminded, and I do it at the end of every single episode. You are a fantastic man. Somebody is waiting to see you today. Somebody's waiting for your call. Somebody's waiting for you to walk in. Somebody's waiting to have that conversation and a laugh or be serious or whatever. Somebody's day is better because you're in it. Somebody's life is better because you're a part of it. Never forget how amazing you are. Remember that somebody needs you, because we're recording during the holidays. And obviously when you finally get to see this, we're past that. But the struggle of kind of sometimes being stuck in our own thoughts and by ourselves, we may make decisions that we don't need to. Just remember, somebody loves you. I haven't met you personally, and I hope I get to one day, but I need you. I don't know what I need you for yet, but I need you. So you have to stay. You can't go anywhere. I need you here. It is an honor, as usual, to host this podcast and to talk to you. Never forget that you are a man. You are amazing. And you're the prize. See you next week.